Hey everybody. So today I want to talk about this thing. This is the Pac-Man Karaoke machine. And the only way to get this thing is by winning it from the Texas Lottery. You can see the Texas Lottery symbol down there. And so you played like Pac-Man scratchers and you had the chance to win this or other Pac-Man swag or money, of course, or more scratchers. Either way, I found out about this thing on Facebook Marketplace. Some lady out in Texas had one for sale, and I really wanted it. I paid 25 bucks for it, and then after a couple weeks, Facebook canceled the sale because the lady never got back to me. She was considered inactive, so that sucked. So I started looking it up other places online, and I started finding them on eBay. Unfortunately, if you buy one with all the accessories, people want like $7,500 or so for it, and that's just a little too much in my opinion. However, I did find one that came with all the accessories in the box and everything, brand new, for 45 bucks. So I went ahead and bought that. But then when it got here, a lot of the stuff was missing, and so I had to hit up the seller, and the seller basically admitted to me that he mistakenly sent out the complete brand new unit to somebody else, and he sent me the one that was not complete, and so he refunded some of my money. In the end, I only spent $20 shipped for this thing, and so for $20 shipped, I'm not complaining. But let me show you what this thing does and what's wrong with it, what it's missing and everything. And so first off, you have this manual here. It's a very basic manual. It's just like one small piece of paper. And it tells you everything that's supposed to come with it and everything that it does. But it doesn't give you a model number, and it doesn't tell you much more about it than what's included and what it does, which is a shame. But typically, like when it comes to units like this was already, like, what they do is they have like an existing unit and then they just put, a sticker on the front of it or whatever to make it whatever theme they need it to be. And so there's a good chance that this thing exists without the Pac-Man theme. I just haven't come across it yet. So as I was editing my footage, I come to realize that I was actually correct. This is a rebranded unit here. I found this picture initially, and I was like, wow, there it is. That's the same unit. And so it turns out that it's actually sold on Alibaba.com, Alibaba and the 40thieves.com there. And the price per unit is actually anywhere from $1 to $20 a piece, depending on how many you buy. And the Chinese company that manufactures these will make them to your liking. Like, they'll put whatever theme on the front of it that you want. So that's probably where these came from. Something really cool about this website is that it lists a bunch of details that aren't in the manual. So you can see that it's a KBQ-167, and that it has 4-inch speakers that are both they're 10 watts a piece at 4 ohms. And you can also see the product dimensions there. It's made out of wood and all that kind of thing, what the mAh of the battery is. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Over here you can see that it has some pictures of it, and it actually lists a few things about it, like for example the radio feature. So from there I was deciding if I wanted to buy a replacement remote control, because I noticed that there's a lot of functions that you can't access from the panel on the unit itself. But then I started thinking about the fact that I could just use my universal remote control, but it turns out that I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, I tried to bring up that brand and that model and nothing was coming up. And so what I did is I just looked around for various like cheap Chinese electronics remote controls that I could just press buttons and see if they did anything. So it turns out that the remote control for my LED lights controls a lot of the features on this thing. And so what I did is I went through and I wrote down which buttons do what, And then from there, I use the learning function on my Logitech remote control. Alright, so I have my Logitech Harmony 700 remote control all programmed. I only programmed the more important functions. I didn't really bother with like the numbers and like track forward and track backwards and stuff like that. So if you take a look at the screen here, you can see that I have power, the EQ, which, you know, the EQ isn't on the front panel there, so you gotta have that right. Function, and then the LED light, that is actually kind of interesting. These speaker lights, all they do is turn on or off. Like that's all you get with that. And then you got your volume up and down. And so if I go back to this page, I can go ahead and turn the unit on. And you can see the cool speakers. And it actually says hi on the screen. That might be kind of hard to see, but it says hi when you turn it on. And so another feature that you can access from the remote control that you can't access from that panel there is the equalizer feature. So the EQ has a bunch of different presets: pop, rock, jazz, classical, cut. I don't know what cut is. I'll probably figure that one out later. And of course you got normal, which is what I've been typically been keeping it on. And like I said, from there I just program basic features like volume down, volume up, and mute, that kind of thing. When it comes to all the features, it has a built-in FM radio, which is really cool. It actually works really well. Has a built-in antenna. And yeah, like there's nothing more to say about that. It tunes really well. It sounds decent. It's not like super duper stereophonic. None of the music that comes out of this thing is, but it's a nice feature to have. It can also load music through the USB port or the SD card input. So what I've done is I put a bunch of Pac-Man songs and sounds onto this USB stick, and we're just gonna have a listen. It should load up right away. Let's see what it does here. It's going from the radio. USB drive. There it goes, and it does have voice announce. Pretty cool. It just kind of goes through them and then repeats them. One of the other things that wasn't included is the combination cable that's a line input and also a DC 5-volt in. I haven't really done too much research on this thing yet. There's either going to be 4 or 5 pins in there. You could probably make that cable yourself really easily, actually, because you would have 1 pin for left audio, 1 pin for right audio, 1 pin for positive 5-volt, and then you would have a negative. If there's 4, then you're going to have 1 negative that's going to be shared amongst all those. Or if it's 5, then you're going to have a separate negative for your power and 1 separate negative for your audio. Bluetooth is actually the best feature on this thing. It just works. It works with everything I tried with it. And you can actually use the volume on your phone, like if you have your phone connected up to it, as the volume on the main unit, and you can actually see the volume going up on the unit itself. That's all the way up. But yeah, it just works, and it sounds pretty good, and it works really well with games. And so this is Pac-Man. I'm playing it on my cell phone, which is a OnePlus 7T. And yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, and so the final feature that I can show off from this thing is going to be the microphone input for the karaoke. As you can see, there's no built-in screen, and so you'd have to use your phone or something like that, or maybe if you have a TV close by. Anyhow, I have the reverb all the way up, and I think it's a pretty cool effect. I'm using my lapel mic, and it seems to work just fine. The microphone that it came with didn't work, and I didn't feel like fixing it or anything. I did notice some cool things about the microphone though, like how it says not for resale. It actually says not for resale on the back of the unit as well, and that's kind of a cool little feature. But yeah, I really like this thing. I think it works well. It's cool to look at, and even though you could buy the same thing without the Pac-Man theme, it wouldn't be as cool. What makes it cool is that it's Pac-Man, and that you actually had to win it, or, buy it off the internet like I did. But yeah, this thing is a karaoke machine, so I know that you want to hear me sing, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of singing here. You ready? I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm heading to the arcade. I don't have a lot of money, but I'm bringing everything I made. I've got a callus on my finger and my shoulder's hurting too. I'm gonna eat 'em all up just as soon as they turn blue. 'Cause I got Pac-Man fever, Pac-Man fever, driving me crazy, driving me crazy. I've got Pac-Man fever, Pac-Man fever, going out of my mind. Until next time, stay sinister.